Hey, listen up, wise guys and gals.
Wasn't
It's
expecting that.
Rutgers week. Yes, you were. It's Friday. It's the podcast daily, and it's time for some bowly predictions. Hey, who's ready?
I'm ready for a bully.
All
That's
right,
for
that's
sure.
what I thought. I knew I'd win you over with
Yeah,
the bowly.
you bring me back.
predictions.
Just when I was out, you pulled me back in.
All right, that's Jeremy Birmingham and Bill Landis. I'm Austin Ward. You know what we do on Fridays. It's bold predictions. Ohio State at Rutgers as the November March begins for the Buckeyes. Noon on CBS. Berm, I think you are still leading the recent success standings on Bold Peas. So lead it off.
Let's just start somewhat subdued and predict a 300-yard game with 3 touchdowns for Kyle McCord and a bit of a bounce back from a week ago. I do think that the ankle injury probably will draw some attention and maybe I actually thought that like maybe with a kid that's played with somewhat happy feet this season, that having the ankle like hurting you maybe forces you to dial in a little bit more and keeps you maybe from going too bouncy in the pocket. You know what I mean? I want to see focus. I want to see Kyle McCord drop back and throw. And I think he's going to do that early and often on Saturday. I know Rutgers has a good defense, one of the best in the country statistically, but I don't think they've played anybody that has the offensive weapons that Ohio State does outside of Michigan. In that game, they gave up 31 points. So I think Ohio State and Kyle McCord should bounce back this week offensively, and I'm expecting 300 plus and 3 tutties for Kyle McCord.
Ooh. Why do you think this guy insists on subdued peas to start off every Friday?
I like to ramp up. You know,
okay.
I like to ramp up. I like to start with a slow, steady jam, like a slow jam. You know, like some adult contempt, and then we'll just work our way to Pantera at the end.
Who's your favorite adult contempt artist?
Probably like Kenny Loggins. Really loved him back in the day. If we're gonna really change it up, Air Supply, like late, Air Supply was amazing.
Oh yeah,
they were great.
Kenny Loggins.
Air Supply though. Air Supply would probably be the go-to. Like I think of my various musical tastes on my Apple Music downloads. There's more Air Supply than you'd think.
I thought they just had the one song.
What? No, they got dozens of hits.
Name one other song.
Every woman in the world to me. Every woman in the world to me. That's,
never heard of it.
You want me to play it? I have it on the soundboard.
Please do. Do you really?
No, I don't.
Loaded that up?
He's got Air Supply loaded at all times.
Yeah, you just never know when you're going to need it. But no, I do not have it loaded in here. Plus, if I did that, we would risk getting a strike on the video, and I wouldn't do that.
Can you sing it?
No, you've heard it. Just trust me.
I'm trying to figure out. I've spent, I don't know, thousands of hours in the car with Berm and will again this weekend. And I don't remember Kenny Loggins coming up on the playlist even once. And
that I scroll
to the top of the power.
That I scroll things. I scroll through songs all the time when I'm driving.
But I don't.
I'm looking for.
I keep my eye on it.
I'm looking.
What
for
does he not want me to hear?
I'm looking for a mood. I'm looking for the perfect mood for that particular stretch of the drive. So I'm often, seeking through the songs. It's not like I'm just letting it play.
But I can read them on the screen. I know what you're trying to hide from me. You're not as sneaky as you think.
Well, guess we'll find out.
Not this weekend because I'm driving, and so it's my playlist. And I won't hide anything from you. You'll listen to LFO and you'll like it.
Half of that statement is true.
Good. We're off to a flying start. Bill, what do you got?
All right. There was a play in the Rutgers-Michigan game. Third quarter, it's still a tight game. It's 17-7. Rutgers has the ball in Michigan territory. It's 4th down. They're going for it. Really aggressive call from Greg Schiano to play for the touchdown there. Mike Sainristil just jumped in front of a screen pass, almost as if he knew it was coming. It was uncanny. Returned it for a touchdown. God. But that has inspired me to pick Jordan Hancock with a pick 6 this week against Rutgers. He will be on the field a lot. I'd imagine the one thing I'm concerned about with this pick is Rutgers runs the ball so much. Might Jim Knowles play more of the 3 linebacker stuff and play Sonny Styles, and maybe Jordan Hancock doesn't quite play as much as I'm expecting. But I'm expecting him to play basically all the time now that they are without Lathan Ransom. So it'll be Sonny Styles and Jordan Hancock out there together. And I think Jordan Hancock, who I think has been pretty good in coverage this year. I think I felt like a couple times he was in position to like nearly make a pick. He almost jumped one last week toward the end of the game against Wisconsin. I think he will do that this week. And when he does jump that pass, he will catch it and return it for a touchdown.
He's proven himself to be pretty adept as a run tackle, run stopper as well. And so
Yeah.
I think he's proven that you can keep him on the field a little bit, even if Rutgers is going to go run heavy. They're not going to go heavy. You know what I mean? They're still going to run it from the spread. So.
Yeah, even last week, right, Bill? It's not like Ohio State, they expected Wisconsin to run it a lot, but based on the personnel, they still matched up normally as they would with Jordan Hancock in the slot and Lathan Ransom at safety and rotating Sonny. Like they didn't necessarily. I'm trying to remember. There couldn't have been more than 5 snaps where they went with 3 linebackers, right? I mean, that wasn't the way Ohio State's adjusted.
No, I don't. They have not done it a ton this year in general, and I want to look now and see. Jordan,
I didn't mean
Hancock,
to put you on the spot.
No, it's okay. It's worth looking up. So like Davis Enigmanos, Denzel Burke, and Tommy Eichenberg played 66 snaps, which I'm assuming was every defensive snap. Jordan Hancock played 63, so he was 4th in snaps. So he was on the field basically the whole game.
Right. Yeah, they seemed, to Berm's point, they seemed to be totally comfortable with Jordan Hancock in run support if need be. So that's as we try and piece together what it looks like for the next couple of weeks without Lathan Ransom. I think that's a fair expectation. Here's what I anticipate with Cade Stover is going to play through whatever is bothering him. They haven't chopped off his leg, so I know that he's still going to play. But it felt like more often than not, he was out there as a decoy in the passing attack and maybe to still prove his toughness and help as a run blocker. We know that he's not 100% perfect on grading out on that, but he's still better than most. And I think dwelling too much on the misses is missing the point with Cade Stover's value. But anyway, if he's limited again as a receiving threat, Ohio State's not just going to say, forget that. The tight end's not part of this offense. I think that we've seen some usage of G. Scott, and I think there will be more opportunities for that on Saturday at Rutgers. And I think G. Scott is going to score a touchdown, and he's going to finish with 5 catches in this game, and 3 will go for first downs. I think this is a G. Scott game.
Like that. Multiple drill downs there.
Yikes.
Doesn't like it over there. What?
I like the pick. I just didn't like the post pick action. That was peculiar to me. This is one of those moments
you invented drill downs. I'm sorry that I took it further. Too far for you.
It's one of these moments where people who get to just listen to this show and not watch it on YouTube should be grateful that they didn't have to see the weirdness that just transpired.
Great.
Let's see. I was actually going to make a G. Scott pick. I was actually going to make a G. Scott pick in this show. I'm not going to co-opt you though, because I've decided today that's not allowed. But
the king over there.
With the return of Emeka Egbuka, with the focus on Marvin Harrison and Greg Schiano, as Bill pointed out on the pick show on Thursday, like he only had 3 catches against Rutgers a year ago. I think you're going to see Rutgers scheme some stuff up to try to bracket him pretty much the entire game. They're going to force Kyle McCord to go to other guys to beat them through the air, to rack up that 3 hundo and 3 tutties. And Emeka Egbuka's return will be pivotal for this to happen. And that is for Carnell Tate to have his first 100-yard game and 2 touchdowns for Ohio State on Saturday.
Okay.
See?
What's that look like?
Click. 6 catches.
He's
6 catches and 100 plus for Carnell Tate on Saturday. And
so you're envisioning him like splitting with Julian Fleming for that to happen?
Yeah, something about the way Julian was moving last weekend did not inspire me to think that he's anywhere close to 100%. And I think at this point in this type of game, you are going to want to stretch the field vertically a little bit and get Rutgers feeling uncomfortable. And I think that Carnell Tate is probably the best receiver on the team doing that right now. And so I think it's a big weekend for him. 2 touchdowns, I think 6 catches, 100 yards. Now, boop, 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 boop. Drill down, baby. Drill.
Well, that was better than your stupid roller coaster. Chick. I'm glad people didn't have to see that on audio only.
I was ramping up, you see. We're getting to the top. And then it's a free fall to the end. The Pantera free fall.
The part of that I think is very relevant to pay attention to, aside from the weird way that you wrapped it up
Beep,
and
boop,
making
beep.
fun of me is there was that conversation. I think Bill asked about it on Wednesday with like Carnell Tate's reps and availability moving forward. If Emeka Ibuka is back, like for this week, maybe, or next week, it might have been the attention was on the wrong guy because Julian Fleming may be somebody that they need to protect a little bit if they can. I don't know the severity of that. It didn't look like he certainly wasn't at full strength at Wisconsin. The reason that he stays in the game, Julian Fleming, is because even with those banged up shoulders, he's a really good run blocker. And that's important for Ohio State, especially as we talk about the balance that Ryan Day wants. And it's not just to use him as a weapon out wide and to stretch the field. So this may be a week in particular where Carnell Tate does still keep a pretty relatively high volume of reps just because even with Emeka back, Julian may not be at that level yet to play every single snap on offense, which he wouldn't anyway.
Yeah.
Julian Fleming is like on PFF by run blocking grade. He's number 4 on the team. It's Josh Fryer, Zen Mahosky, who's played like 9 snaps, Matthew Jones, and then Julian Fleming.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. He's pretty good at it.
Yeah, he sure is. He's gonna. He'll. I'm assuming he's gonna play, but I agree. Maybe he'll be limited. But he's gonna block for an Emeka Ibuka rushing touchdown. I'm running it back this week because I predicted it last week, and then Ryan Day decided to sabotage me and not play Emeka Ibuka, even though he was available to play.
What will Ryan? What limits will he not sink to? That's what I want to know.
It's
what
unbelievable.
Will that man not go to in order to just ruin things for people?
Yeah,
he has a
vendetta against me.
That's what I was going to say.
Too much to bear.
Personal vendetta against Bowley predictions.
Yeah, so I'm just going to keep picking Emeka Ibuka to get a rushing touchdown until it happens. So I'm bringing it back from last week. I think it was interesting to me last week against Wisconsin that when Ohio State got into the red zone, it was just like trying to score immediately from like the 18 and 19 and 17 yard line, rather than trying to work it down closer to the goal line and finish off drives that way. So maybe that makes this less likely to happen if Ohio State's going to operate similarly. But I think, again, as I said last week, I think Emeka running the ball or Xavier Johnson, but I think Emeka, now that he's back this week, is a constraint that they can use in that part of the field in lieu of the quarterback run game that they're probably not going to have much of until Kyle McCord and Devin Brown are 100% healthy, which who knows when that might happen. So I think it's part of the offense they want to tap into. They couldn't do it last week because Emeka was not playing, but I do think once he's back in the lineup, that is something they're going to want to do, and he'll get into the end zone this week.
Tap it in.
Just tap it in.
Love that. I think Rutgers, they're an interesting rushing team and successful at it. They've got the quarterback rush threat, so they're going to probably find some success on the ground against Ohio State. And by that, I mean a few individual plays scattered throughout. I don't think it's sustaining drives. I don't think it's picking up a ton of third downs. I think on a play-in, play-out basis that the talent disparity in the trenches and the way that Ohio State gang tackles and pursues to the football is going to bottle up what really the only thing Rutgers can do over the course of the game. And so whatever the final yardage total is for Rutgers, I don't know, but I think Ohio State is going to end a lot of drives with TFLs, and I think they're going to finish with 10 of them in this game. If you're messing around with some option stuff, if you're delaying some things in the backfield, I don't think that that's a formula for success, especially if Jim Knowles and Ohio State can expect that more often than not, Rutgers will have to run. I don't think that they're intimidated by anything going on. I think they trust all of their corners with Denzel Burke, with Davison Igbinosun, if Jermaine Matthews is even out there to supplement that as they shuffle at safety and with Jordan Hancock. Zero in on that run, Ohio State's, I think, going to have a lot of success. And that means Tyleik Williams, that means JT Tuimoloau, Jack Sawyer coming along as a real threat against teams that are trying to run, setting the edge, being active in the backfield. We broke some of that down on Buckeye Q with Zach Boren this week. Those guys, I think, are going to get after it. They know what they're going to be looking at and what they're going to be keying on. So double-digit tackles for loss for Ohio State.
Rutgers has only allowed 29 tackles for loss all year. That is 6th fewest in the country.
Ooh.
So that'd be a heck of a day for Ohio
Strength State. Versus strength.
Again,
something's got to give.
Part of this in my mind is who Rutgers has played, and then the 1 through 85 talent disparity.
How many of those TFLs happened against Michigan, Billiam?
I'd love to tell you that, Berm. If you give me 1 second,
I would love to give you 1 second.
Yeah.
Well, even then, you have to put a grain of salt on.
I know
that.
that's exactly what I want to know.
Because
Michigan against. Sorry, go ahead, Austin.
Connor Stallions was over there. It's like they only have one signal for a pass. It's like we know that one.
Yeah, it's this.
Michigan only had 3 TFLs against Rutgers.
So 10% of their season total in that one game. Let's see. I was actually thinking about the Rutgers potential option, and I wanted to say that one time in this game, Gavin Wimsatt is going to pitch on an option right to JT Tuimoloau, who's going to return it for a touchdown. That is like that. Bold P.
You wanted to say it, or
3.
You are saying it?
I am saying it. That is the Pantera.
He wanted to. He's not going to mention it, but he
bold breakdown. Pantera. Yeah, I think JT Tuimoloau is going to have a touchdown in this game on a fumble recovery, and I think it is going to be on a play where you're like, well, he did what? How did he do that? And then he will have done it, and then we'll see it on the scoreboard, and they'll be like, oh, that's how he did it. And then people will talk about it, and they'll be like, oh, did you see what JT Tuimoloau did? And they'll be like, no, I didn't see. What did he do? And they'll be like, well, he took a pitch from Gavin Wimsatt and returned it for a touchdown. And people will be like, what? He did what? How did he do that? And then they'll be like, well, this is how he did it. And then you'll break it down in Buckeye Q, and then Zach Bourne will talk about it. And then we'll talk about that next week on the next edition of Bold Predictions when we say, do you remember a week ago when JT Tuimoloau did that thing that people were like, what? How did he do that? And then Zach Bourne told them how he did it, and then we talked about it on this show. That's how it will get there.
I thought that time loop was going to go on forever.
I could have.
That's a drill down, baby. That's the most precise drill down I've ever heard.
JT Tuimoloau is playing so freaking good, and I think it's time that he gets rewarded with a 6-point play for his efforts. And this is the week to do it because, as everyone knows, he's from Washington, which is basically the New Jersey of the West Coast. Everyone knows that, so it's gonna feel like he's going home.
I'm not certain about that.
Yeah, that seems wrong.
I don't know anything about geography. Is Washington even on the West Coast? I can't be sure.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, but only a part of it.
Were you talking about Washington, D.C.?
Oh, no, he's from the state.
Oh, yeah. I was just wondering which one you were talking about.
George Washington lived in New Jersey, though, didn't he?
No, I
he
thought
did cross the Delaware.
But Delaware is in Delaware, not in New Jersey.
The Delaware River.
From Virginia?
I think he's from England.
Oh, well, that's weird.
That was whatever. We're losing.
We got rid of We got rid of subdued Berm. We're there. That's all I asked for.
JT Tuimoloau touchdown in this game. It's going to be on a pitch, but it's going to look like an interception.
Why don't they just put him in the game? Caden Curry's spot on offense.
Honestly, I would do that at this point if you're Ohio State. I mean, I know Bill is like, no more defensive players on defense. But
no, don't do that.
Hey, man, I think JT Tuimoloau as a tight end would be pretty difficult to stop. I actually was thinking that Ohio State should put Jelani Thurman in like number 78 or something this weekend and just run him out there on the offensive line in the red zone and then have him run the tight end, the tackle eligible play, but he's really a tight end just to trick people.
How big is Jelani Thurman going to be at this time next year? Like it feels like he gets 10 pounds stronger literally every time I see him.
He's a huge, huge kid. And I think that maybe, you find a way. How put him down there. Let's see what happens. Just jump ball it to him.
I don't know.
They
about
need
that.
it.
James Franklin loves it. James Franklin loves this idea. Just throw it up.
All right. Chuck it all over the yard.
Mm-hmm.
Bill.
Is it my turn? Any more Burn before I?
Normally you make like 7 bold predictions at the end.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
You're good? Okay.
I have so many things I could talk about, but I'm just going to.
I know. Before you go off on those tangents, let me just say that Ohio State will have a season high 250 rushing yards in this game. I also mentioned on the picture, we talked a little bit about it. Like Michigan ran for 200, Wisconsin ran for 200 on this Rutgers defense. I do think there is a little bit of real estate there that Ohio State could get for itself. Trayvon Henderson being back and looking explosive, I think factors into this as well. He has a chunk of it, I believe. 150 for Trey, at least 150, which will be his third straight 100-yard rushing game if you don't account for the fact that he didn't play for a month. Chip Trainum, I think, has a big week. I think like in the 80s rushing yards wise, and then the balance of that would be combination of Emeka Ibuka and Xavier Johnson. But 250 on the ground for Ohio State against a Rutgers defense that has given up a little bit on the ground this year.
Are you considering these like chunk plays for Trey, or are you thinking the Buckeyes are just going to grind it out this weekend? Because I know your score prediction of 31-7 would indicate that you'd think that it's not going to be a runaway game.
It's more it's grind. It's more grindy. Yeah, I don't think Trey might. I think I could see Trey hitting like one long run, but I think it's more. Let's move this down the field methodically.
I'm against
Matriculate the ball down the field.
Okay, I can see that. You know what else I can see? It's on special teams. It's gonna happen that Rutgers blocks a punt. That I think will be the special teams weirdness of the week for Ohio State, and it's not going to turn directly into a touchdown for the Scarlet Knights. It'll give them a short field, and then they'll kick a field goal as part of the 38-6 score that I predicted for this game. But there has to be a breakdown at some point. And Greg Schiano's scheming up madness every single week. He tried to block a punt late in the game last year when it was out of hand. Everybody might recall the brouhaha between the head coaches, which was something I had never seen before. But that also, I think, plays into the fact that I don't think the game will be particularly close because Ryan Day will not show any of maybe the competitive courtesy that he gave to a former colleague in the past. What do you agree with that, Berm? Like there seems to be more bad blood because of that. I think.
I don't know. I mean, Ryan Day, if you were able to sit him down and talk to him and ask him like what coach does he give most of the credit for like the early part of his success at Ohio State, Greg Schiano would get a lot of it. He really leaned on Greg. I know, but I think they both know they're psycho crazy competitors on the field, and I don't think he's going to hold that against Schiano. I think they were both just furious. I was actually going to say that Ohio State's going to block a punt in this game, but I didn't want to go down that rabbit hole of everything that's crazy bad that can happen for Ohio State on special teams already has. But I actually think Ohio State is going to block a punt in this game, and that's going to be Carnell Tate also doing that. I predicted that earlier this year, but I think it's going to happen.
I can't believe he's just inserting a bold prediction into your bold prediction.
It's Inception. It's bold prediction Inception. But no, I don't know. I mean, I think that Ohio State wants to come out and put this game away, but it's not like I want to shove it up Greg's. I think they
took us.
Yeah.
Here's Austin making a bold prediction that's bad for Ohio State. So Berm's like, nada. It's actually going to be good.
I'm expecting a really good, clean game by Ohio State this weekend. I don't know why. There's nothing. I just feel like this is a time when things start to improve because it has to eventually for the number one team in the country, right? Eventually they're going to look like the number one team in the country and not just win like the number one team in the country. But I think that starts this weekend.
Are they, not that this matters all that much, but if Georgia beats Missouri, they're going to put Georgia at number one, right?
Probably. And if Michigan beats Penn State next weekend, then they'll probably put Michigan number one then.
Yeah, I think that's right too.
And that, we've talked about, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah. But what would that change about Ohio State's resume still having the 2 wins compared to the one, if we're even counting Missouri, which I guess you can. I don't really, but whatever. The selection committee thinks Missouri is decent. I don't know what that would change for them at this point.
I think
go
ahead, Bill. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
No,
please, after you, sir.
If you go out and you play and dominate good teams, the way that Michigan has dominated teams all year, asterisk, obviously, on some of that. Georgia certainly didn't do that early in the year, but the last month they played very, very well. And if they go out and win by 35 against Missouri and Michigan does that at Penn State, then I think the argument can be at least made that their game control / dominance all season outweighs Ohio State's 2 wins. That's at least the way I would view it.
Yeah.
But in terms of game control, Ohio State's doing that already very well. 33-10 looks good on a piece of paper. It may not feel great when we break it down every single week or we see areas that Ohio State can improve, but I I have a hard time believing that they're going to be penalized for beating Rutgers or Michigan State or Minnesota before the last week. Maybe I am wrong about that, and the selection committee proves me wrong literally every year. But that doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
I wouldn't agree with it. It just felt like to me that the conversation was Ohio State's number one because they have to be number one, but no one actually believes they're the best team in the country. Yeah. So the first chance they get to make that not be the case, they're going to take it.
And that's why I think these next 3 weeks are so important for Ohio State, because they need to go out and dominate these next 3 weeks, because they really do need to be number one heading into the November 25th game against Michigan, in my opinion. Like, if you go into that game number one, if Ohio State does lose that game and it's close, they're still in the playoff. If you go into that game number 4 or number 3 based on, squeaking by or not looking perfect or pretty these next couple of weeks, then you add a little bit more fuel to that fire of, well, they just have been clunky all year and they're not what we think. But that's all a matter of irrelevance anyway, because we know that the committee will just do what they need to do to keep people talking about it, like we're doing right now, which I didn't expect we ever would.
Sorry, I took us there. My apologies.
Bill, are you going to miss Stuff Your Face?
Yeah, man. I love the Rutgers trip. It's New Jersey is not home, but it's pretty damn close. And I like driving across the turnpike, clear across PA Turnpike, God's greatest road.
That's what I always say when I'm on it.
Yeah. No, I very much enjoy the trip to Rutgers, so I am a little bummed I'm not going. Yeah.
It's one of my favorite trips, and Austin mocks me for it, but I really do like this trip.
What's your favorite bully, Bill?
The buffalo chicken probably, I think, is pretty solid. Yeah.
Okay.
Just like also the the traditional like pepperoni and cheese and marinara sauce is also very good.
Berm, what are you getting tonight?
I always go base pepperoni, cheese. That's it, and beer, and then trying to get back to the hotel early enough to get road breaks done so that you don't have to be distracted while the border war is happening over there in Colorado and Wyoming. So that game starts what time? 8:00 on Friday night, and we're going to want to be watching that without you being distracted on road breaks. So for anyone who's asking about that show or curious about that show, the plan, I think, would probably be to be doing that about 7:15 Eastern time, depending on exactly when we get on the road to New Jersey.
Did you call ahead, Austin, to make sure the hotel has CBS Sports Network?
I did not, but
Berm
is an AV wizard. He will solve that for me somehow.
I'll have an HDMI cable in case we need to run it from the computer or the iPad. So don't you worry.
When was the last time we had to do that? Indianapolis, and there were just like cords all over the room. You had to step over them and like go like you're in Mission Impossible, and dip and dodge, and
doesn't matter. Totally worth it. Totally worth it.
Anyway, all right. Ready to hit the road to Piscataway. It's going to be awesome to be back. Can't wait to get there. Ohio State Rutgers tomorrow at noon. Thanks so much for getting ready, getting set for the game with us here on Bold Predictions on the Podcast Daily. Enjoy the game. That's Bill and Berm. I'm Austin. Talk to you later.